I have a friend who's also a rapper, but he's a Muslim. And he was debating me about Jesus' verses when he says, like, eat my flesh, drink my blood.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm not a Catholic, I'm a Protestant. I don't believe that he's speaking literally there.
Right,
you know?
okay.
So, and that caused another argument with the Catholic. But anyway, so with that being said, he was like, okay, but even if these are metaphors, they're demonic metaphors. Why is he telling you to eat my flesh, drink my blood? And I know there's a good answer for that, and I think you probably have a better answer than me. So what would you say if I said, Jesus, it's demonic to say to eat my flesh and drink my blood metaphorically?
Okay, first of all, I would ask him, what does he mean by demonic, and why does he think it's demonic? Because if it means that Jesus's flesh and blood was punished instead of our flesh and blood, and therefore we can be forgiven and given his righteousness, how is that demonic? I mean, God is the one taking the punishment, and Jesus is voluntarily taking it. You remember when Jesus says, hey, Lord, if there's another way that this cup can pass from me, please, but not my will, your will. No, there's no other way. Okay, I'll do it.
His reasoning was because in the Old Testament, in the law, like, God said not to consume blood. So he's like, why would he say not to consume blood in the Old Testament, but then in the New Testament say consume blood?
I would have to see what passages he's talking about. But look, all of that is really not the main issue. The main issue with regard to Christianity and Islam is, who is Jesus? Now, the only people among scholars who say Jesus wasn't crucified are the Muslims. The Christians believe he was crucified. The Jews believe he was crucified. The agnostics believe he was crucified. The atheists believe he was crucified. Only the Muslims say no. Why? Their Qur'an, Surah 4, verse 157, which is written 600 years after the events, tells them that Jesus was taken straight to heaven.
Yeah, he wasn't crucified. That's what they said.
Yes,
yeah.
and was someone else substituted for Jesus, they think. Now, why would we believe a document that comes 600 years after the events rather than documents written by eyewitnesses who were there who all say Jesus was crucified and rose from the dead? So, if you look at Jesus, and as you probably know, in the Quran, Jesus is actually considered virgin born. He's considered a prophet. He's going to come back and judge. Right, yeah. But why would we believe the Quran on this when we have eyewitness accounts from the time? And they're going to say, well, it's been corrupted. Well, what evidence do you have it's been corrupted? Because by the time you get to Muhammad's time, we know what the Bible said. The Quran, in Surah 5, verse 68, tells the Christians and the Jews to obey the law, the prophets, and the Gospels. Why would the Quran tell the Christians and the Jews to believe a corrupted book? This is called the Quranic dilemma, by the way. Because if the Quran says the Bible's corrupt, and it is corrupt, then the Quran is still not the Word of God because it's telling us to obey a corrupt book. If the New Testament documents are not corrupt, the Quran is still not the Word of God because the Quran disagrees with the true New Testament. So no matter how they slice it, the Quran is not the Word of God. That's called the Quranic dilemma.